Hello everyone, Helen here. Welcome along, welcome into my camper van. Come and spend a bit of time with me while I chat to you today. And I just have to start with an apology because I think lots of you might have been expecting the next part of our trip to Scotland, which obviously it isn't today. But I just thought, because I've just been to Yarndale, the festival of woolly creativity in North Yorkshire, that I wanted to share it with you as soon as I could. So the next bit of our Scottish trip will be next week, hopefully. And so, I'm taking you along today. I did think at one time that maybe I should have like a separate YouTube channel for campervan trips. But today's episode is just a good example of how things often cross over. Crafty things and campervan travels just are crossing over, and I decided that I'll just keep me all as one channel. And all of you lovely people who watch me are quite discerning enough to decide whether you want to watch some campervan travels or you just want to watch other crafty chit chat or whatever it is I'm talking about, because you can decide. And I know lots of you like both, and you like the variety, so that's fine. But if you ever do start watching and you think, well, I only have time for, or I only want to watch a certain bit, then as long as you're not watching on the television, then you can look in the description box, and there's always timestamps that will take you to particular places in the video, so you can skip over the bits you don't really find so interesting. But I hope you're going to find it all interesting today. So, so let's go, shall we? So Yarndale is in Skipton in North Yorkshire, and you can see here on the map roughly where it is. It's perfectly possible for us to go just for the day from Durham, where we live. However, Phil, that's my husband, and I decided to turn it into an overnight campervan trip, although Phil actually wasn't planning to come to the festival with me. So we set off on a Saturday afternoon, heading south for the Yorkshire Dales National Park. There are 10 national parks in England, and you can see here on my map 3 of the national parks that are in northern England. That's the Lake District and the Yorkshire Dales and the North York Moors. Plus 2 areas of outstanding natural beauty, which is the North Pennines and the Forest of Bowland. And we're very lucky to live so close to all these beautiful places. Our drive took us through the beautiful Yorkshire Dales, with Skipton as our ultimate destination on the following day. I must apologise for the less than clean van windscreen in this video. It showed up more than usual, certainly on the Saturday when we were driving into the sunshine. But anyway, hopefully you can get an idea of the lovely countryside that we were driving through. Early on in our route, we drove down a long straight road that follows the line of a Roman road, Deer Street, that once ran between York and Edinburgh. And we took a short stop in the market town of Richmond in Yorkshire, which is worth a separate visit to go to the castle and learn more about the history of the town. Though I wasn't impressed that there were no public toilets open in the town centre when we were there, and nor could we find a tea room that was open. Anyway, the rest of the journey went smoothly, and we thoroughly enjoyed our drive towards Skipton. We arrived in the small village of Kettlewell late afternoon, and that would give us about a half-hour drive to Skipton the following day. Kettlewell is a charming village at the centre of the Yorkshire Dales, and although it's small, it actually has 3 pubs that are still open and a couple of tea rooms. The River Wharfe runs through its centre, and there's an underground cave nearby, which was apparently visited by the artist John Turner in 1816, and he did a couple of sketches there. Before it got dark, we decided to go and look for a place where we'd later park for the night, as usual, making use of a website called wildcamping.co.uk. We drove up out of the village to a higher road, and after many twists and turns and steep hills, we spotted one of the possible places, where there was actually quite a gathering of cows and calves, more of them later. Apart from the cows, we were very happy with that location, so we made our way back to the village. We chose to eat at the Race Horses Hotel, and it's a hotel not named after anything to do with racing horses, but it's a corruption of trace horses, which were extra horses that were hired to pull coaches up the steep sides of the valleys, of which there are many in this area. We had a delicious meal with a very speedy and friendly service. Phil had a steak and kidney suet pudding, and I had fresh Whitby scampi, and both were really, really lovely, followed by an excellent treacle tart with cream. And we enjoyed good company too, chatting to a lovely couple who were here on holiday from Atlanta, USA, and they were very interested to learn more about our lives here in the UK. It was dark when we returned to our chosen overnight spot, only to discover that it had been completely taken over by the cows and calves that we'd seen earlier. So we left them in peace and we drove further along the road before stopping for the night. When we woke in the morning, we had absolutely no view because the mist had come down. We were quite high up. I can't remember how high, but it was quite high up. We relaxed for a while once the van was shipshape, and I even had time for a bit of knitting, working on the wolf that I showed you last week. We didn't actually have our breakfast before we left because we'd spotted a cafe in Kettlewell that opened at 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning to serve breakfasts. So we set off through the mist, driving past all the cows and then between the dry stone walls that are so typical of this area, though they were rather damp with the rain. Back in the village, we had a little wander round on our way to the cafe. I loved this little seating area, which looked a very friendly place to sit, and I was interested to discover that the pole at its centre was a maypole, re-erected by the local Women's Institute to commemorate the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II in 1953. We walked by the restored village stocks, commonly used as punishment in medieval times for those committing petty crimes such as drunkenness. The cafe only provided outdoor seating, though some of it under cover. Well, that was fine because it wasn't actually cold, just a bit damp. And we were also warmed by our bacon rolls and cups of tea. I was rather amused to be sitting right next to this great big mural of some very friendly looking sheep. It was then time to be on our way to Skipton. So we set off through the rain, through the southern part of the Yorkshire Dales, past some very impressive limestone cliffs that were created millions of years ago by the movement of a glacier in the valley. Phil dropped me off at the Skipton Auction Mart, and I excitedly walked across to the venue where Yarndale was being held. This is the 11th year of the Yarndale Festival. I was there for the first one in 2013, and I've been a few times since, not every year, although the last time was in 2018. I love the fact that it's set in a place filled with animal pens, and it's normally a busy livestock market. It could be a cold, chilly, bare place, but I've never been cold there, and the Yarndale organisers have always done their best to make the place as cosy as possible, decorating it with a large amount of woolly bunting and other things, and so there's no chance of not knowing that you're at a big celebration of all things to do with fibre-related crafts. It was lovely to see the Yarndale sheep again. There's been a new sheep created each year, which is used as the Yarndale logo. Actually, one year there were twins, so there have now been 12 sheep, even though it was the 11th Yarndale. Yarndale attracts visitors from all around the world, as well as the UK, and it hosts over 200 exhibitors selling a huge range of yarns and all sorts of other things related to fibre arts and crafts. And here's a very small selection of some of the things that I spotted. I'll show you a few more of the exhibitors shortly, but I have to say that the most exciting part of the day was meeting up with some really lovely people. I was so excited to meet up with my podcasting friends, Jeanette, who has Crafty Clegs Creations, Dawn from Dawn's Days and the Woven Almanac, and Karen and her daughter Laura, and Karen has the podcast Stitches and Jacks. I'd never met them before, but I felt that I already knew them, and we all got on as though we'd known each other for years. It was also lovely meeting some of my viewers, although I kept forgetting to take photos. It was just all too exciting. So hello to Sylvia and Jill and Marion and anyone else whose name I have inadvertently forgotten. And here you can see Suzanne and also Angela, who was helping her husband with their attic spin dye stall, which I'll return to shortly. We had a lovely podcaster lunch. I was very pleased with my chosen lunch of steak pie, mushy peas with mint sauce, mashed potato and gravy. There was an excellent choice of food on offer, but I forgot to take photos of anything else. Jeanette, Dawn and Karen and I also exchanged gifts with each other. I got a delicious bag of Dutch biscuits from Dawn, a beautiful little gnome purse plus a tiny tin in the shape of a house with a special pin badge inside it from Karen. And there was some chocolate, but that's long gone. And Jeanette had made me the most wonderful journal which I have promised to use, although I'm going to have to think of something extra special to use it for. It must have taken ages to make, and I really, really appreciate it. It was just such a kind thing to do. But I am going to use it, and when I do, I'm sure I'll share it with you. But there's so many lovely things in it. I could spend ages now just showing you every single page, but perhaps I'll show more of it another time. The show was much quieter in the afternoon, and I enjoyed a leisurely walk up and down between the vendors. Of course, I had to stop and spend a bit of time with the sheep and the other animals. There were not as many as when I went to Wonderwall, Wales, but it was still lovely to see them. And here's a little video of the exhibitors who had such tempting things on offer that I couldn't resist making a few purchases. I wonder if you can work out what I might have bought? Well, I'll show you in a little while. Well, Phil came and picked me up at 4 o'clock and we set off for home, just taking a short stop for cups of tea in a place with a lovely view, and we enjoyed the last of the rolling hills of the Yorkshire Dales. I had had such a lovely day, such a lovely weekend really. So I promised to show you the things that I bought. I can't show you actually every single thing that I bought because some are for gifts. So yeah, if you might have spotted things I bought and then not see them and think, oh, maybe I got them as a gift for somebody. But anyway, let's see. Got them all on the seat here. I got some gorgeous yarn from Attic Spin Dye. I bought more than just this, but yeah, this is the only one I can show you, shall we say. But that's going to be beautiful yarn. That I will be using that for socks actually, and it'll end up as a gift for somebody. But yes, that's beautiful yarn from Attic Spin Dye. And from their a little store which was just all crochet kits, I bought 2 kits for some baby Christmas mice. You get enough yarn to make 2 mice, and there was a kit to make white mice and one to make grey mice. So I bought one of each because I couldn't decide, and you can't have too many mice at Christmas. So I'm very pleased with those. Looking forward to making those in time for Christmas. I think this book here was the one thing that I knew I would probably buy if I saw it at Yarndale, and that's the designer Sue Stratford, who makes mostly she designs toys. I think she does design other things, but I love her book of knitted birds, and I've made quite a few of those. But I couldn't help buying this. Yeah, this book of countryside creatures, and unlike the Cynthia Valley patterns, they're not seamless, but that's fine. They are really lovely characters, and yeah, I'll show you when I've made some, but I might not be starting on them quite yet. I'm still a bit obsessed with the Moosh and Friends. And then, sorry for the rustling, and then at a lovely stall I've seen, whenever I see this stall anywhere, I always buy something from it. They produce cards and all sorts of other bits and bobs that are to do with knitting and crochet and things. So I bought a pack of gift tags. There's one with a jumper on it there, and just kind of knitted designs on there. So that'll be lovely. I bought a couple of cards, which are one of them is yarn related. The other one is actually about, well, I better not say because I might send it to somebody who's watching. And then I really love these that they do. They're labels for putting around a pair of socks that you've knitted when you give them as a gift, and it's got messages on. And I love this one. You are totally worth every single one of the 42,200 stitches in these socks. I'm not sure if that is the exact number of stitches, obviously, but I like that. I really like that. There is no such thing as too many hand knit socks. So yeah, so you just wrap them around your socks so it looks extra professional. You're giving them as a gift. And what else? Oh yes, also at Sue Stratford's stall, I bought another book, which I didn't really mean to buy, but somebody made me. Sylvia. A lovely friend from long ago I met for the first time in, I don't know how long, quite a long time. And yes, she was busy buying this kit and this book to make an Advent wreath. Well, I was standing there humming and hawing, should I buy something else? And when she came along and I knew she was buying it, I thought, oh, I think I would like it as well. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I hope I can do that for this year. Okay then, and then finally, this is the last thing. Well, there's a couple of things in here. So this is something made by a person called Helen Edwards. This is a complete luxury treat just to go into my craft room onto a little shelf somewhere. Oh dear, rustling always sounds really loud on the recording things. And it is this little bee on a ball of yarn, and it just says "Be happy" on the little sign there, you can see. And it was hard to choose which one to have. I stood there for ages trying to decide what to get, but yeah, anyway, so I'm looking forward to having that in my craft room. And then something else, which wasn't from her stall, it was from the vintage stall, and I don't know if you would have spotted them. I was really surprised to find them there, being that it was a yarn show. There were these two teeny tiny little sheep. You can see the size of them on my hand. Oh, they're absolutely adorable. I love them. Apparently they're French. So they were next to a whole load of British little tiny animals, but not as tiny as this, whimsies, that if you're this similar age to me, you might have collected them when you were young. But these were even tinier, absolutely gorgeous. So, and I do actually have a special place for them that I'm waiting to have put up on my craft room wall. And so I'll show you that another time. And these will definitely go into there because they're so small. So there we go. So those are my purchases, apart from the other things which I can't show you. And yeah, it was just, I mean, going to Yarndale isn't so much about going and buying things. I didn't really need anything else, did I? But, it's okay to treat yourself to things. Hopefully I haven't gone completely over the top. And others will benefit from me spreading joy when I've made the things. But it's as much about just being inspired, getting inspiration and ideas and things. So it is just fantastic. If you haven't been to it before and there's any chance of you getting there, I highly recommend it. And I think a special thing now for me will be actually meeting with people that I know, with friends. I have new friends, and that is so lovely when you've got like-minded friends to meet up with at somewhere like that, and just be joyful about all the yarny things all together. So anyway, I think that's it for this week, and I really, really hope I'll be back next week, also in the camper van, but taking you off on the next bit of our Scottish trip. So until I see you again, keep nice and busy, take good care of yourself, and I'll see you soon. Okay then, bye.